Welcome, I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, Senate meets with Nigeria's security chiefs over arms proliferation, killings and kidnappings across the country, seeks special funding for security agencies. Lawmakers in House of Representatives divided over Electoral Act amendment as bill passes second reading in the lower chamber. We begin the assessment of President Buhari's three-year administration with a focus tonight on politics. And 3 patients infected with the Ebola virus escaped from a hospital isolation ward in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
On Business News tonight, Federation Account Allocation Committee shares 701 billion naira among the federal, state and local governments for April as monthly allocation increases.
On sports news, quarterfinalists emerge at the 2018 Channels International Kids Cup. Former Super Eagles captain Joseph Yobo commends initiative.
And from Abuja, EFCC to arraign a former Minister of Education, Ibrahim Shekarau, and 3 others for alleged 950 million naira fraud.
We begin tonight with the resolution by the Senate to approve special funding for the nation's security services to enable them tackle challenges of insecurity across the country. The resolution was arrived at after members of the upper house met with security chiefs behind closed doors today to discuss the proliferation of dangerous firearms and the spate of killings and kidnappings by hoodlums across the country. The security chiefs, led by the Chief of Defence Staff, General Abayomi Olunishakin, agreed to bring the request for special funding to the Senate in 2 weeks. The Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, also agreed that the Senate will fast-track bills or protocols that will help tackle insecurity across the country.
The Senate, in a closed committee of the whole, received briefs from the Chief of Defence Staff, the Director General of the Department of State Services, representative of the Comptroller General of Immigration, Inspector General of Police, Comptroller General of Customs, on the proliferation of dangerous arms as part of killings by terrorists, kidnapping by hoodlums across the country. Thereafter, they answered questions from distinguished senators bordering on the security, insurgents, terrorism, kidnapping, and other top national security matters. And on the whole, we directed that on our part, certain outstanding bills or protocols that needed to be given a fast track should be addressed immediately to see that they can be passed as soon as possible in order to strengthen security architecture. Secondly, of course, we all observe the funding issue, and we also agreed that there must be made special funding, and also to give them 2 weeks for which to present their own budget on this area of special funding that we would think will go a long way to improve the security situation in the country.
And still on security, at least 31 people have been reportedly abducted by gunmen while traveling along the Birnin-Gwari-Kaduna Road in Kaduna State. An eyewitness account says the first victims were traveling in a bus around 7 p.m. on Tuesday when the 9 occupants and driver were stopped by armed bandits who forced them down and took them into the bush. According to the source, the bandits also intercepted 3 Golf cars carrying 6 passengers, each on the same road in the early hours of today, and took them all, along with the drivers, into the bush. The chairman of the taxi section of the National Union of Road Transport Workers in Birnin-Gwari has confirmed the abductions. He says the bandits no longer hide in the bushes, but sit by the road disguised as policemen and flag down any oncoming vehicle they see. The NURTW chairman adds that no commercial vehicle has plied the Birnin-Gwari-Funtua route for 2 months because of the frequency of attacks on the road. The State Police Command is yet to confirm the attack. Meanwhile, Nigeria's defense authorities have described as fictitious an alleged yet-to-be-released report by human rights group Amnesty International indicting military personnel in rape incidents in IDP camps in the northeast. Defense spokesperson Brigadier General John Agim says in a statement that the military has received a credible intelligence report of Amnesty International's intention to release the alleged false report. He accuses the organization of engaging in falsehood, maligning and painting the military in bad light at every opportunity. The statement says, quote, "The Nigerian military admonishes AI to desist from cooking reports from time to time to demoralize the entire military system and the nation as a whole, whose troops are sacrificing their lives in the fight against Boko Haram and other enemies of the country." According to Brigadier General Agim, the best way to ensure that the insurgency is completely wiped out is for Amnesty International to work as partners with security agencies. He also admonishes the rights group to desist from cooking up reports that are capable of derailing the good work being done by the soldiers. Earlier today, some protesters stormed Amnesty International's office in Abuja, accusing the human rights group of blackmailing the military. The federal government has responded to the recent allegations by the River State Governor Nyesom Wike of a plot by the federal government to assassinate him. According to the Minister of Information, Mr. Lai Mohammed, the reason why Mr. Wike has not been invited to explain these accusations is because the state governors still enjoy immunity from arrest.
As to the question about the allegation about by the governor of Rivers that he has information that will be assassinated by the federal government in a crowd. Well, I think one of the beauty of being a governor is that you enjoy a lot of, you enjoy immunity from prosecution and arrest. Because I remember that a couple of years ago, when I made a similar allegation, I was invited to the force headquarters.
Meanwhile, the River State governor has accused the federal government of trivializing a sensitive issue like the security of lives and property in the light of his assassination plot alarm. Governor Wike was reacting to the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed's comments that he could have been arrested for making such an allegation, but for constitutional immunity. According to Governor Wike, the federal government does not care about the sanctity of human life, and that's why it's been giving conflicting reasons about the killings across the country. A statement from the governor's special assistant on electronic media quotes him as saying, "They don't care about the issue of protection of lives and property, and that's why people are killed in their numbers every day. But I will not be slaughtered easily. They will not succeed in their plot." End of quote. The governor says he's shocked that rather than offer an assurance that the intelligence report will be duly investigated, the Minister of Information is trivializing the matter. The Deputy Governor of Bauchi State, Nuhu Gidado, has resigned. Mr. Gidado informed Governor Mohammed Abubakar of his decision in a letter dated May the 16th. In the letter, Mr. Gidado explained that his decision was based on his commitment to serve for only a single term as Deputy Governor of the state. Ordinarily, he says, I should have remained up to the end of the tenure, but with the currently dampened spirit and the waning zeal as it relates to my office engagement, my continued stay will not be fair and truthful to you as my brother and leader." End of quote. The Deputy Governor also believes that staying on in office will be unfair to the system and his conscience. He reminded the Governor that during their meeting on April the 19th, he had informed him that he was thinking about stepping aside. Mr. Gidado thanked Governor Abubakar and the people of the state for the opportunity to serve as Deputy Governor of the state. A bill for an act to amend the provisions of the 2010 Electoral Act has scaled second reading in the House of Representatives. The bill seeks to legalize the card-carrying voting system as well as disqualify political parties that are involved in electoral violence, among other things. Some members, however, queried the similarity of the bill to one which has already stepped down last month. Our correspondent Terry Ikumi reports.
In favor of the amendment, say aye.
The 2010 Electoral Act has been a source of contention in the National Assembly for some time now. There are different components of the Act that the National Assembly has been trying to amend. The President had earlier refused to assent to the entire bill, seeking to reorder the election sequence. And the House of Representatives thought it wise to represent the bill after making modifications based on the President's reasons for withdrawing his assent.
Bill for an Act to amend the provisions of the Electoral Act No. 6, 2010. You would recall that the bill was a consolidation of 10 individual bills seeking to amend sections of the Electoral Act 2010.
Lawmakers react to the bill. Some support it, while others say it should be stepped down.
Some honorable colleagues might have some misgiving in certain aspects of this proposed bill. I believe we will do a public hearing.
If there is irregularity in an election and the election is marred by violence, that the tribunal has right to cancel and declare the second person winner of the election.
I have no clear understanding of what this electronic voting entails. I therefore would ask, as other people have suggested, that we please step it down.
We have separated the
The Speaker calls on the Chairman, Rules and Business of the House to clarify the distinction between the current bill and that which was stepped down last month.
This is the bill with the same contents as that which we passed here enthusiastically and forwarded to the President for his assent. The President took objections to some elements within that bill and rejected his assent. Now it was brought back to the House. We took notice of the President's objections and the bill was remodeled.
The matter was eventually referred to the Committee of the Whole, bypassing the public hearing stage, which the Chairman, Rules and Business explains had already taken place before the previous bill was stepped down. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
Less than 24 hours after his impeachment, the Deputy Speaker of the Ondo State House of Assembly, Rojo Ogundeji, has been reinstated. The motion for his reinstatement was moved at a sitting today by the Majority Leader of the House, Mr. Gbenga Arawoyibo, and Mr. Fatai Olotu. Speaking to Channels Television on the development, Mr. Ogundeji, who was impeached by 18 members of the House, thanked all those who intervened. He explained that no charges of financial misappropriation have been leveled against him by his colleagues.
Very confident, and I'm happy today that that impeachment has been quashed and I am now reinstated back to my position. However, one thing that gives me joy most is that out of all the allegations leveled against me by my colleagues, they did not say I embezzle their money. Neither did they charge me or level me with any financial impropriety. So I'm happy. All what they said is that they discovered that the relationship between myself and Mr. Speaker is not cordial. And I don't know. It's like some people are crying more than they believe. When we got to our leader, they asked Mr. Speaker, are you fighting your deputy? Mr. Speaker said, no, we are perfectly in peace.
In any organization, even husband and wife in the house, they can't do without having misunderstanding. But wherever there is misunderstanding, what we do is to settle it. But I don't think such misunderstanding has gotten to the extent of saying we want to, because of that, impeach the Deputy Speaker. But notwithstanding, we thank God, the whole thing has become story.
In part two, after the break, the Nigerian Medical Association and the Joint Health Sector Union trade blame over the prolonged industrial action embarked upon by Joheso. That's in a moment. To stay with us.